Well, you take a car, and not too modern one, I assume.
One of the other vintage cars.
The non-carbon fiber car.
All your vintage cars are gonna get destroyed.
Or all
like
those
one after
spots
the
where
one.
there's like painted a little square with the number of the car written on it. Now there's like little papers saying IOU on them instead of the car. eBay, right?
Yeah.
All right then. You set out. We basically see you all like do the determined nod as you stand up and like go to get ready and get in the car. And who's driving? Martin again?
Yep. Unless Bjorn wants to drive, because last time I hit a horse in the city of Berlin, which is not something that happens every day.
Bjorn can
The
drive.
shadow hound you hit.
He doesn't.
Bjorn's skill in driving?
I have
That's
one.
really good driving. Oh.
I have 2.
Oh. Dear then.
Would Tia volunteer?
Sure.
Right? Martin gets the front seat now, so you three can squeeze in back seats.
By the way, I bet with your talk about eBay, Tio goes, "What is eBay?" And they'll go search for eBay and then pizza, and then she'll buy this.
God.
Can you buy pizza on eBay? Oh, close enough.
I wouldn't buy used pizza, Tia.
Right.
Slightly used. Yeah, well. Yeah, you see you driving down the day, it's midday, going to watch the and you stop outside what seems to be a and there's obviously no GPS, so someone has been like looking at an old map. Probably Felix, because he probably still uses those sorts of things. When he drives himself. But you basically drive up to what seems to be a very musty and sort of small motel in the eastern part of Berlin. It's not very big at all.
Seedy hotel, eh?
It's called the Winter Motel.
Of course it is.
Fitting. Is this a hotel any of us have heard anything about before? Is it a known hideout for?
It is no supernatural thing that you know of would live here. It is quite ordinary, and generally it's used presumably by Russian tourists who come here to watch things like the old sort of Cold War memorials and such.
Russian tourists, huh?
Yeah.
Nope. Well, Felix eyes the building, gets out the car, shakes all of his gear, puts his jacket over his gun so it's not visible that he's carrying a gun.
I think we're gonna expect trouble in there.
Yes.
Okay, I'll take my clothes off then.
He looks around. How many people are on the street?
There's a few sort of going around doing stuff.
Maybe change in the alleyway or something.
That's a good idea.
Felix waits by the door for the rest of the party to catch up.
She changes clothes and comes back with her clothes in her mouth and then puts it in the car.
Martin will wait with Felix, also having like a very small pistol that he brought from home.
How small?
It's not a revolver, but it's like the small pistol.
Okay.
Oops.
Something easy to hide that's probably not very effective, but it's something.
Sure. It's like one of those Bond pistols, Walther PPKs or something.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Bjorn will walk up with Felix and Martin just leaving his jacket. He's just in shirt and trousers now.
Do any of you have permits for your concealed firearms? I understand that's pretty difficult to get.
Well, difficult.
Bjorn does not have one.
Difficult.
With the vast connections of Martin and the White Council, it wouldn't be impossible for Felix to have one, I guess.
Oh yeah, by the way, Bjorn will notice that Tia now has a collar on that says Goldie, and she has a leash in her mouth and looks through the people like, which one?
He'll like look down and kind of sniff and I guess. Sure, whatever. Just kind of skims over it.
She puts the leash in front of the three of you, like looking at you expectingly.
Shin picks it up and takes his staff as well, and follows the other people with a staff and dog in hand.
Tia nuts.
All right, onwards to the convention. As Felix steps in the door.
Right. A sort of a smell of cigarette smoke sort of meets you as you begin to hear the sort of the loud ticking of a cuckoo clock hanging on the wall. A woman is sitting behind the desk. She's sort of old, but to the point, sort of maybe like 65 or something. So not like too old. She has sort of a graying hair, sort of curled, pushed back, and she is indeed like smoking while reading a newspaper. She looks up as you get in, sighs a little bit, puts down the newspaper, goes to the desk and sort of puts out her cigarette. As she looks at you, basically does an up and down, clearly judging you for your strange appearance.
Martin will step forward saying, "Hey, hello. We're looking for someone. We've been invited by him, and now he's waiting for us, and we wouldn't really like to have him wait. His name is August Krakow, I believe. He should be in this motel."
She sort of licks her finger as she goes to look at some papers she has. She has like a very old computer that she then goes to begin clicking on without really answering you, not really looking at you. Seems like it would maybe take a while. She's not really hurrying or anything. As she finds it, says, he hasn't checked in for a few days. Don't expect him to find him in there unless he's been staying there without leaving. 3rd floor, second to the left.
Felix nods and begins walking up.
Thank you. We'll take a look.
All right. You go up. It actually has a decent number of rooms. Sort of when you think about the size, they can't be very big at all. As you go up there, and you get to that would be like 302.
Anyone have a lockpick?
We need lockpicks?
No, I'm just asking.
A faded carpet. No one's really around up here. You go up here.
Tia will sniff under the door.
If no one has a
It
lockpick,
smells sort of musty. The carpet's clearly seen a lot of just like cigarette smoke.
Maybe
No
someone has a...
from under there.
You can roll a survival. If you want to try to.
Oh, survival, sure.
Also try to listen in as well.
That would be an awareness. Alertness, it's called.
The animal people probably have it better.
It's the same. 3.
Well, you smell. Cat screaming loudly. You smell sort of a musty smell of. I mean, definitely someone spilled alcohol in this carpet at some point. Like smell of people, yeah, sure. It generally doesn't smell very good here. There's no one smell that is super distinctive.
Okay. Well, she goes back from the door and sits.
As to
Shin.
listening, with the two, you don't really hear anything from in there.
well, Felix puts his staff gently towards the lock and channels a little bit of power to open it up.
Martin turns around just in case.
He blows out the door.
No, just channels a little bit of power. He can melt the lock if that's what it takes, but he can also manipulate metal like various earth aspects. So I assume that would.
Manipulates the lock slowly, thaumaturgy,
Yep.
to make it sort of unmangle itself. Sure,
Yeah.
it's not a super expensive lock, though. Though it seems like it would be difficult to pick. Maybe that's a problem here. From what you know of that, limited as it might be. You go in, you see basically a small room. There's a double bed, sort of what's it called, like a bunk bed, pressed against the side, and then there's basically like a table that you can use from the bunk bed, and then like next to the table, the small table, there's like basically like a closet, small closet anyway. There's a single window, and it has sort of metal bars in front of it. Looking out, the curtains have been pulled, and they're sort of yellowed from use slightly. There's a musty smell. Whoever was here, well, it clearly hasn't been cleaned for a few days, probably because it'd been locked. The room is very small. It's very hard for all of you to be in there.
Yeah, Shin can stay outside.
But I can do an investigation check because I'm kind of good at it.
Begin digging through everything.
Check for traps.
What? Traps.
Crossbow bolt with poison.
Look up.
I suppose, though, because we're dealing with someone who might be a sorcerer, so Felix might quest out a little bit with senses, see if there's actually any magic in the room.
We can sensing around, and yes, there most definitely is magic in this room.
All right.
There's bad magic in this room.
Oh, okay, everyone out.
Bad, unpleasant mojo.
Bjorn
Sort of
definitely
swirling
leaves.
around. Basically, like that smell of the cigarette, the faint smoke of someone recently having smoked in here. It's that, but to the magical sense rather than your smell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Felix.
Sort of like the gunpowder smell of a fired firearm, whiffing up around the place.
You see him sort of questing with his hand out in the air a little bit in front of him, like he's sort of like touching or like feeling something that you others probably can't really see. And then he says, well, there's certainly bad stuff here. Certainly bad stuff. Does it seem to be just a remnant, or does it come from somewhere?
No, like if you want to dig further into it, it does seem to be concentrated around the closet.
All right. He, moves slowly around a little bit, and then he suddenly stops by the closet, turning very slowly towards it.
Mm-hmm.
Frowning deeply at it.
It's bad in there.
All right. He
Sort of feel his sense that this is probably something he wouldn't want to use his third eye on. From the smell of it. It smells of rotten, like bad and just horribly corrupt, evil, so to speak.
He motions the others out as he steels himself to open the door. Before he does, he will apply a spirit shield on himself, to just in case something out there actually will strike at him when he opens. Using one of his rote spells for that. And then in the same second he does that, he throws open the door.
Sure. Like an old coat is hanging there. There's a few stack of books, a few paper, what seems to be sort of opened boxes, basically, stacked on top of one another in there. Just a few personal things, a set of clothes. But it's definitely from in here. Something in here is emitting bad things.
He rummages on.
Digs through, and he finally finds the one box. There's sort of a piece of paper, sort of folded around what seems to be a little bundle of something, and that is from where this is originating. It's definitely seeping into the area in this room.
All right, very carefully, he starts
As he reaches his
unwrapping.
hand forward, he almost sort of feels like a mouth without teeth. He's sort of numbing or sucking on his fingers as they move close.
Well, he moves closer with his gloved hand. Maybe that's better.
He can still feel it. It doesn't seem to be a physical thing. More of his magical sense is giving him this vivid image.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Hungrily.
He will quite gingerly try to remove something from the bundle, or remove a piece of the bundle from the bundle so you can actually see what's in it.
Sure. On top seems to basically be this image, but it is no longer empty. It is a slightly different room, clearly a different place. But in this one, there is a slight silhouette of a child standing in the middle of the room.
Mm-hmm. Well, he picks it up and takes a look at it.
It appears to be an empty room of some sort, maybe a construction site. But in the middle, there's a single very, very young child, perhaps 2 or 3, barely standing there, just stiffened, sort of, with a very intense eyes that you usually wouldn't see in such a young child.
Well,
looking out at you, seeing you.
Is this the source of the emanation, or is it more?
These are, yes. There's a stack of them.
Okay. He starts picking through more of them. Does it seem to be the same?
Yes, however, most of them seem to even have younger than 2 years, presumably 1 year, even like a newborn just laying there. Very emaciated one. Some of them seem to even just have like little lights almost fluttering there, or strange artifacts of something white that has sort of been scraped onto the surface of this image, or other such. Just little artifacts of light in the middle of the empty room. That's the one thing they have in common. They're all in a big empty room, sitting there, and they're all facing outwards, and they're all looking exactly at the camera.
Are these photos signed?
They have the same on the back of them, yes, as the one you have.
Well,
if you look at the 2 boxes. They seem to be 2 boxes that have been sent here with presumably these photos.
My first guess, my private guess, is that these are some sort of soul prisons for these poor children. But what does my lore reveal?
Well, spirits inhabiting different things, different mediums, is certainly a thing. Spirits forcibly being sort of forced to inhabit a certain medium is a thing. It's sort of a very gray zone for if that's even allowed, taking something's free will from it and capturing it like that. What it could be used for? There's a myriad of things, but yes, this could very well be a prison.
Yeah. You'll see Felix's face contort in disgust as he sort of picks through the pictures.
They have certainly, they reek of necromancy. It's not living children.
Could
Still,
they
he touches them. He can feel the tiny hands and arms and mouths just sort of suckling and biting and hungrily.
So, in his opinion, could this be broken? Could the imprisoning be broken?
Potentially, yeah.
Would he think that the spirits inside would go berserk if he did?
They would presumably go back to wherever they were, if that place is still available. Spirits generally find their resting place whenever the sun is up, or they get terribly harmed and turn into monsters. So, if they are able, they will. Few spirits actually want to not move on. Most stay here only because they've suffered some sort of trauma or simply do not know how.
Yeah, well, like small children, I'm thinking. Because they don't really seem to be very happy.
No, they seem to all be incredibly hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Even the slight motes of light seem to be incredibly hungry.
Yeah, he gets up, takes a few steps back, and just shakes his head as he goes out into the hallway with the others, And yeah, he doesn't look happy. He sort of wipes his hand off on his clothes repeatedly and says that is foul things have happened in there. And to those children, whoever this Flaky is, he needs to be destroyed.
Any hints on Flaky in that room?
I was a bit preoccupied. I need a moment. He sort of leans against one of the walls and takes a few deep breaths.
Did he take the pictures with him?
No, they're still in the bundle on the floor.
All right. They are there, sort of the top one staring at him.
Bjorn will go in and see if he can.
Sure. Even his animal senses pick up that something is wrong in here. His animal side screams for him to not to leave, like to get away from here.
Well, he'll still spend a short time looking around, seeing if he can find anything that might possibly get us a new location to go to. A new destination, as it were.
Sure.
Either through survival or investigation, or both.
Investigation would be more fitting here.
Yeah. Would you say they'd be able to use his smell to be able to
No.
aid? No? Okay. Try. Ah.
Right. Well, the first thing he finds is on the table. There's a small book and a pair of what seem to be reading glasses. The book seems to be a history book. There's sort of a black and white picture on the outside with sort of a bombed building. And the name of the book is The Winter of 1947. Beyond that, he finds a stack of papers, pretty big. Apparently, it's a printed book on local folk tales, perhaps printed at a library or some such. He also finds a stack of empty photos or photos with empty rooms in them. Certainly not as big as the one with children in them. Beyond that, on the table there's a brochure from the Bode Museum on the museum aisle with little circles drawn around certain things in the exhibitions. There are things written in some language he doesn't understand on it.
You'll bring it all outside for the others to look at. On the book, is there anything like highlighted, circled around? Anything like that?
No, not really. Maybe it was just nice, good night reading. Maybe it was related to something.
Okay. He'll give it to the others. Maybe the others can read the language.
So, a language that Bjorn can't understand, is it Russian?
Maybe.
Russian is pretty easy to identify, at least.
It does not appear to be looking like Russian.
Oh,
The one who has the highest scholarship might know.
Is there a skill called language?
that is included in the scholarship.
All right.
Maybe it would be possible to at least identify the language with a scholarship roll.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Martin knows a thing or two about scholarship. Not slash roll. I used the button here.
No. I mean, something. Clearly not using a completely Western alphabet, but some parts of it.
Maybe use your phone to type in a few of the words.
Google Translate. Would that work,
He
Malachi?
doesn't really have those keys on his phone. But maybe another scholarship check to find out how to use the phone to do it anyway.
All right. Let's investigate my phone.
Scholarship.
Oh no.
He has no idea how to make those things appear.
I bought it, and the guy said it was easy to use, but obviously light.
So they get like some music starts playing or something.
Time to buy the shop and fire him.
But it would probably be possible to Google the winter of 47, right? I mean, the internet counts as a mediocre library.
Certainly, you can do some
Right. Let's investigate.
Googling.
Or Martin is standing out in the hallway, playing on his phone.
Sure. Well, doing that, he will very easily find out that you don't even roll for that. Just looking at top 10 results, that the winter of 1947 is the end of the Second World War, and is generally also considered known in Germany as the Hunger Winter, because the invasion of Berlin had left it in a state where there was simply no food for the people here. It is the winter where many of the trees in Berlin were cut down and simply used for firewood. It was a very strong winter, very horrible winter. It is the reason why all the trees in Berlin nowadays have little number plates on them, because they were all planted after that. It's known as the Hunger Winter. And the book, certainly, if you open it, stipulates as much. It's an academic work on history describing the events and having some personal stories from people involved, that sort of thing. A horrors of war sort of book.
Well, not exactly pleasant bedtime reading.
Or necromancer, maybe.
In that, you will also see that it is dedicated to a memorial site for these for those children who perished in the winter. Which turns out was quite a lot. It is the Berlin St. Gerard Magellan Memorial. As you, presumably, if Bjorn continues such round. No?
Yeah, he can. He's not too bad.
Alright, sure. As he searches around to the closet, he will find these boxes, of course, but he also found the coat, and in the coat there appears to be a Polish passport. In addition, which is for a man known as is indeed Krakow, and August Krakow. And there's also a sort of tourist brochure with a big sort of someone has put double lines under the Berlin Opera.
Wagner, not again.
Felix snaps out of his reverie. He said, "What?" He sort of hoists his staff.
Just nothing. I just had a horrible déjà vu and chilled on my spine, and